Welcome to GTC's Teaching Tidbits Blackboard Ultra. In this series, each episode, we're exploring tips, techniques, practices, ideas to expand your knowledge of and your comfort with using Blackboard Ultra. I am joined today by April Akins from the Curriculum and Instructional Support Center, CISC for short. Welcome, April.
Hi, thank you.
It's so nice to have you with us. And you have actually been a guest on our Teaching Tidbits series. But since you are now going to be a regular on our Blackboard Ultra series, would you just briefly introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about what you're doing over there in CISC.
Sure. So I started here about 2 years ago in November of 2022 as an instructional designer, really focusing on QM and doing course reviews and getting that set up. But as we've transitioned with Lee's retirement, I've moved into more of a Blackboard support role and doing some of the administrative work. So I'm backing Rebecca up. So you'll be seeing me more and giving some of these updates and some of the support tickets that you're putting in. Hopefully you're doing it that way. We can connect with you and support your needs with Blackboard.
Great. Thank you, April. I'm excited to have you as a guest now, continuing these episodes. We were on a brief hiatus for the summer months, but now we are back and diving back in. In our previous episode, Tracy from CISC gave us some great updates to the gradebook as it pertained to summer 2024 and moving onward. And now with Blackboard continuing to feature updates monthly, we're back to provide a preview of what's to come. And that's what we'll be doing moving forward. So April is here with a look at the updates for September 2024 and to give us a preview of some of the changes that they're making, how they're sharing out the information, and then again, anything of consequence that may be coming for October 2024. So April, I'm going to turn it over to you to share your teaching tidbits.
All right. So I know when you logged in August, when you came back for the beginning of the semester, things changed a little bit. You had a little bit different content development tools on your screen when you went to actually build things into Blackboard. Blackboard has continued to make changes. And so in September, they've made a couple of big changes that when you logged in, you saw them. So first up is just the content layout changes. So here on my slide, I just have the 3 top updates that happened in September that we think are important for you to be aware of. So the first is that content layout changes. And their goal was to bring focus to the course content first. So you'll see on the left side, you've got your course content showing up first. Then on the right side is where you've got those tools that you're used to using. So that's a little bit of a change, and it was kind of a shocking thing when you log back in and everything flip-flopped on you. And knowing where to move your mouse has been an adjustment, I would say. Another piece is they're trying to improve the structure of it to give you more understanding of this is a learning module, and then under that, what kind of content exists there, which helps students when they're trying to navigate through Blackboard. So you'll see some changes with that. The next change that happened is the knowledge checks. So now you can actually build in those quick kind of formative assessments where you just want to make sure that the students read through the material on the page. And you'll see that here in this little example that's showing they select the correct answer, they get a response right then and there. That's giving you more student engagement with your materials that you're displaying on the screen. It's not something that's tied to the gradebook at this time, but over time, that may be an option that you can do. But at least right now, you're able to see that. Instructors do get the metrics, they get the analytics on that, so they know how many students did it and kind of where they landed with their responses. So that's helpful if you need to adjust your content afterwards, for the next round. You can also pre-populate that feedback. You can make adjustments to that if you don't like what it's, right there it says that's correct, please try again. That's incorrect, please try again. You want to update that a little bit more, you're welcome to do that. They have unlimited attempts when students are working on that as well, so they can, keep trying till they get the correct answer. And then the next thing to highlight that happened is you can now exclude attempts when you're grading. So if a student submitted the wrong document and you don't want that to keep showing up that you need to grade it, you can actually exclude that attempt. And when you do that, it gives the student another attempt option. So if you only have one attempt for assignment, they've submitted something that was incorrect. They uploaded the blank file instead of the actual file they needed. You go in and exclude that attempt, then the students can then go back in and submit that again, and you don't have to delete the attempt and do extra attempts and things like that. So it's easy to do that. You can see here in the top, all you do is have to select that delete attempt, and then it will mark it as exclude. So that's very helpful for students when they do make that mistake. So I will say I've done it a few times myself as a student, and it makes it easier for the instructor. So let's move on to what we're calling some October highlights that we think are important for you to be aware of as well. They have already come out, so you are already seeing these and might be a little confused as to what they are. So the Gradebook Overview tab. So now you have an overview tab that tells you you've got items that need grading, and then you have items that need posting. It highlights the top 5 oldest submissions for both of those. So the top 5 oldest grades that you've not gotten to yet will show up, but you can tab through to get to the rest of the grades from this screen, but it just pulls it all together for you in one place. I will tell you, it gives this little badge that you're used to seeing. You got 9 to grade, 8 to grade, that sort of thing, but it also will put an exclamation point there. That means that you have things that you've not posted, which is a helpful reminder. If you thought you've done all these grades and you hit post and you didn't, you see that exclamation point, and that's going to help you remember that you need to go back in and post those things. The next thing I want to highlight is the student activity log. So now when you go to the student overview, you're looking at the analytics. There's actually an activity log that you can go in and see anything that the student has done in the last 140 days, which I figured that out. It's about 4.5 months if you're not good at figuring out what days are. So it's going to go back pretty much through your whole course, and you can see everything the student has done, timestamp. So that's helpful for you to track things when the student says, I did submit that, or I did log in. You can take a look at that information. The other thing is, it does take up to 20 minutes for it to post the last thing the student did. So if I just submitted something, you've got to wait about 20 minutes to actually see that the student did that. So just keep that in mind as you're looking at the student activity log. The other piece with that is you need to make sure that progress tracking for your course is turned on, or you will not see that log. If you don't have it turned on and you go in and click it and turn it on, the activity log will display at that point. So you didn't have it on before, it will be available now. The other piece to that is we have gone into the settings and forced that to be on, but just to make sure that it is on, that student tracking is important to be able to see. And then the last thing I wanted to cover with updates is the student feedback page. So now students can access the feedback a little bit easier than they could before by just clicking on the little icon here. This gives them information with a kind of a new review page. It also provides them information on multiple attempts. So if you've graded 3 attempts and you've got feedback on each one of those, they can easily access that all from that feedback button now, which makes it a little bit easier for students to compare things as they're working through assignments. And they can also get that through the content page itself. So if they've gone through the module, they go back to that assignment, they click on it, they can also get a little panel that shows up there as well for their feedback. And then the last thing that I wanted to cover was what we're planning to do with Blackboard updates in the future. So how we're going to get our information out to you. You've probably seen this if you've logged into Blackboard in the last couple of days. We are putting a pop-up, so that first slide that I showed today is popping up for you to take a look at it. It's encouraging you to go to our LibGuides, where we have more details about these updates that are happening so that you can read more about it, learn a little bit more about it. Plus, there's extra things in there. There's other updates that we didn't highlight that we still think are important for you to take a look at. And the other thing is we're happy to continue doing some training one-on-one, or we can do training with you about updates as a group if there's something that you want to focus on. We know AI is a big topic, and there's a lot of updates with the AI features in Blackboard, and we're happy to kind of maybe have a discussion about that with the group. So I do want to pull up our LibGuide to show you. So on our LibGuide, we have our Blackboard page, and then we have our Blackboard updates. And so what we're doing is highlighting every update that's happening over the course of that month. And you just simply slide through these, and it's going to give you more details with an image, kind of give you an idea of what that information is about. So always take a look at that. And if you have questions about the updates, submit a support ticket. That's what we're here for.
Great. Thank you so much, April. I will say that whole content layout, I knew it was coming from having chatted with you all, and it still was jarring when I opened up Blackboard and it hit me for the first time. I like things to stay the same, so it still takes me a minute when I open up my Blackboard shell just to acclimate myself. Okay, this is the new way. This is the way it is now.
That muscle memory too with your hand. The mouse wants to go to the left and you've got to move it over to the right. So definitely it takes a minute.
Yes, absolutely. So again, there's some really great updates. I feel like every time we're recording these episodes, we're seeing things that are just improvements. Now, I mean, some of us may have feelings about the content layout, whether or not that's an improvement. I'm getting used to it. But some of those other things, it did take me a minute to get used to the ungraded number at the
Right.
top too. It's like, thank you, Blackboard. I appreciate letting me know how much grading I have to do.
Right. Those constant reminders.
Yes, yes, but really it's just exciting to see, especially with like being able to add those knowledge checks into, those learning modules and things like that. They just continue to expand our capabilities in how we're using it, especially for that student engagement. I think you kind of highlighted that. So thank you
Definitely.
for sharing all of those updates. And so, like April highlighted, just a couple of things that we already have. So again, nothing else of real consequence. I think you said April was coming in October. So we might get just a little bit of a breather.
Right.
And then we'll see what happens in November, but we promise we'll have the updates out before it happens there. If you've had that invitation from April already, if you want to continue the conversation, if you want to ask more questions, please feel free to reach out to April. I've got her email here on the screen, april.akins@gvltec.edu. Of course, you can reach out to Rebecca Roth as well. And then what's really helpful is, again, filling out or submitting a support ticket for CISC. And again, the link to that will be in the description below the episode so that you can easily get to that. And that's a great way to go about getting connected with just the right person in their department to help you with whatever the question or challenges that you're facing. And then, as April pointed out, check out their LibGuide. They've got tons of different things available for you there. Again, the link to the LibGuide is going to be in the description below this video as well, just to make it as easy as possible for you to get there. And it looks like they're doing a great job of giving you some of that more in-depth knowledge about some of those updates that have happened as well. So again, we'll be back with another episode previewing what's coming in November, but that's our teaching tidbit for this episode of Blackboard Ultra, and we will see you next time.